How's it going, guys? It's been a while since I've made a video on how to install or how to do something, but I recently did something in my car that I thought was really cool, and I thought you guys might want to know how to do it too. Now, I did use another YouTube video to learn how to do this install, and full credit to the person. I'll put the link in the description below of the original video with this idea, but there were a couple parts in it that were a little bit unclear, and I thought I might be able to clarify them in my own video, so I'm going to go ahead and make a video hoping to clarify a little bit of the details for anyone who's trying to do this. So if you look right here, what I'm going to be teaching you guys to install today is these 4 buttons, and basically what they do is they act in place of the cruise control toggle that is deleted because I have an aftermarket steering wheel. So just to show you guys what it does, for those of you who have EcuTech, you'll know what's going on. Here is the cancel button. If I hold that, it'll open up there. Here's up, down, and then this one's on and off for cruise control. Press this one again, that's my map. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and I'll teach you guys how to install this. Now, in order to take this panel off to start the install, all you need to do is remove these 2 screws, and they're both just Phillips heads, so you can get a screwdriver or an electric screwdriver and go ahead and remove it. Now, before I show you guys my actual setup, because the wiring looks sort of confusing, I thought that I would explain it on a piece of paper to help you guys understand. So this is a visual representation of the wiring of it. So all of these circles are the 4 buttons, and here's what they do. So this one is on, off, up, down, and cancel. Right here you can see that there are 2 plugs on each of the buttons. For one of them, you're going to run the negative wire across all 4, and they're just going to connect at each one, and then come back down here, which I'll explain this later. Now for the positive wire, this is where it gets a bit more complicated. So in between each positive wire, you're gonna have a resistor. Resistors are these things right here, in case you're unfamiliar. And so for this one, you're gonna have a 240 resistor. For here, you're gonna have a 390 resistor. And then for here, you're gonna have a 910 resistor. If you wanna move around the position of the buttons, you just have to keep track of which resistor goes to which one. Just a piece of advice, at the end of each wires, I connected it to a plug so that I could unplug and plug back in the panel if I wanted to remove it. Because if you hardwire it back in, then you'd have to cut these wires if for some reason you needed to remove the panel. So I'd recommend getting a plug, which I will show you guys the one that I got. I'll also have a link in the description for all of the parts that I bought for this install. The way to tell the resistors apart is they're a 5-band, and what that means is there are 5 bands of different colors on each resistor. And now these are very important. So for here, if you look at 240, it's red, yellow, black, black, brown. And if you look on the band itself, you'll be able to see that that is the color scheme. So obviously for the other ones, 390 is orange, white, black, black, brown. 910 is white, brown, black, black, brown. So after you get all these resistors, then you can complete the install in accordance to this picture which I showed you guys earlier. So this is the panel from inside the car. Obviously it's already completed and finished wired. Like I said, mine looks a bit difficult and complicated, so let me explain to you guys what I did. So here's the inside of the panel. It's a whole bunch of wires, but it's actually pretty simple. I have the negative wire running from button to button to button to button, and the way that the buttons work is there is a little screw, and if you see, there's a hole underneath the screw. So you run the wire inside it, and then you tighten the screw on top of it. That way it holds it down into place, and the metal creates a connection between the 2 wires. So for example, in this one right here, I have 2 wires running into it, and the screw makes sure that their wires are connecting and touching and won't come undone. So that's how you connect all the wires together. So I have 1 wire running from this one to this one, and then another wire running from this one to this one, and then another wire running from this one to this one, all for the negatives. Now for the positives, I have a wire running from this one to this one, but instead of it just being connected simply like this one around here in the back that you can see, it runs all the way up here, and then inside this shrink wrap is the resistor, and then it comes back down into the second one, and then a new wire goes up, and then a new resistor is in the shrink wrap, comes back down to this one, and then it goes up here, is shrink wrapped once again, and comes into here. Just a piece of advice, I use different colored shrink wrap, so if you could see one's red, one's white, and one's black, to indicate which resistor is in which, so you don't get confused. Now at the end of all the wires, I had the negative running out of here, and I had the positive running out of here. connected to this. Now this is the plug that I mentioned earlier. I just bought it on Amazon. Like I said, link will be in the description. But now I can unplug and plug this back in. So for example, if I wanted to work on my car, or if I needed to do something, or I needed to remove this panel, I can just unplug it instead of having to cut and then resolder the wires together to make this all work. So now I'm going to go into the car and show you guys which wires you're going to be connecting this whole bunch to. So just another piece of advice, I taped all these wires together to kind of keep them together so that way there's no wire being pulled individually, and then I hot glued them to the bottoms of here so that they wouldn't move in case I was driving or something, because I didn't want to run the risk of these being pulled out and then these not working. So we're back inside the car. The panel is still removed. Now if you look underneath the steering wheel, there's this very bright yellow plug, and that's very easy to spot. Right in front of it is a white plug. If you push on the bottom, you can remove it. Now, as you can see, there are 3 wires coming out of it. Let me separate these two. 3 wires coming out of it. As you can see, I have snipped 2 of them, and I still have the blue one still running to it. So the wires that we're going to be concerned with are the 2 that I've snipped, and that would be the white one with the blue line in it, and the black one with the grayish line in it. So the white one is going to be the positive, and the black one is going to be the negative. Obviously, you're going to be connecting your other end of the plug to the wires coming from the car, and not the ones coming into the plug. So these ones are cut and open, and we're not using them. But the ones coming from the car, I've now connected to the other end of the plug. So once I plug everything back in together and push it all back into place, then it should all work. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. This button serves as the on-off button for the cruise control, which obviously isn't going to do anything right now because my car is off. This one is the up, down, and cancel. So here, up, down, cancel again. And then like I said, this one is on and off.